Góðan daginn. Hi, welcome back to Icelandic for Foreigners. This is going to be a quick video about the verb verða. Today I'm going to go over the three most common meanings of the verb að verða. It's a very commonly used word. There are other ways to use it, but I'm not going to be talking about those in this video. So the first way is to mean become. Next is as an auxiliary verb to mean must. And third, to mean will be. So let's go over each of these. First, the conjugation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because you can always look up the conjugations. It's an irregular verb, but it's a very important one, so it's worth learning. Here's the present tense. If you want to pause the video to look at it or write it down, then go ahead, but I'm just going to move on. And here's the past tense. So let's talk about the first sense, which is to become. So we can use að verða to mean that a noun becomes another noun or becomes an adjective. So we're going to use it with a noun or an adjective. So let's look at an example. Hún varð tannlæknir means she became a dentist. So if we look at the parts of this sentence, we have hún, which is the subject, and that's in nominative, and we also have tannlæknir, which is what she's becoming, dentist, which is also in nominative. It's not very often in Icelandic that we have a nominative on both sides of the verb, but become or verða is one of those cases where we use nominative before and after. Here's another example. Þau urðu svo þreytt á rigningunni, which means they got so tired of the rain. So again, we have þau, which is the subject and is in nominative, and then we have urðu, the past tense of verða, and the adjective that we're using is þreytt, which means tired, and it is also in nominative. So when we're using verða to mean become, we can either use it with another noun or with an adjective. Now I'd like to talk quickly about using the present perfect with að verða. The present perfect in English is when we say, I have done, or I have become. And usually when we do this in Icelandic, we use the modal verb að hafa. But with verða, we don't use hafa, we use að vera as our modal verb. So let me show you an example. This is the regular sentence with verða, hún varð tannlæknir, which means she became a dentist. Now the present perfect form of this sentence would be hún orðin tannlæknir. So the first one means she became a dentist, and the second one means she has become a dentist. Now we didn't use að hafa, we used að vera, hún orðin. And then orðin, that is the feminine version of the past participle. So what you would think that we would say would be hún hefur orðið tannlæknir, which is the past participle and hafa. But instead we're going to use the modal verb að vera, hún orðin. So watch out for that with að verða. Here's another example. Þeir urðu þreyttir means they became tired, and þeir eru orðnir þreyttir, which means they have become tired. So watch out for that when you're forming the present perfect with að verða. And I should probably add real quick, there are times when you'll see að verða with að hafa and the past participle, but not when you're using it to mean become. There are other ways that you can use verða where it's appropriate to use hefur orðið. But when we're talking about something has become something else, then it's basically always used with að vera. So you don't need to worry about that too much. All right, let's talk about the second sense of að verða, which is must. This is an auxiliary verb, and we're going to use it with að, and then the second verb is going to be in the infinitive. And must, what we mean is it signifies a duty or an obligation or a need to do something. So here's an example. Þú verður að bursta í þér tennurnar means you must brush your teeth. You have a need to do it, or you have a duty to do it. Hann varð að mæta á fundinn klukkan 13 means he had to go to the meeting at 1 p.m. He had a duty to do it, or he had an obligation to do it. This is a very common way to use að verða in everyday speech. All right, the third sense is will be. It's very common to use verða in this way in spoken Icelandic. So here's an example. Verður þú á Íslandi í haust means will you be in Iceland this fall? So here, verður þú means will you be. Now you could also use an auxiliary verb and að vera. You could say munt þú vera á Íslandi í haust. But in in spoken everyday speech, it is very, very common to use verður to mean will be. Here's another example. Það verður búið í næstu viku means it will be over next week. And one more example. Ég held að prófið verði erfitt means I think the test will be hard. So watch out for this. Icelanders use this all the time in daily speech, and it's very common. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos to come. I'm sorry it's been a while, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Have a good one. Bless, bless.